can feel resentful, exhausted, burn out. They can feel alone, right? So then when they feel insecure or helpless, they shut down, and then they not open their hearts to their partner.
I mean, my biggest challenge is just not being appreciated for what I do, right? It's just
Yeah.
because you're totally capable to look after yourself in every way.
You have a disability or some kind of chronic condition, when you're not happy with yourself, you can really bring that into the relationship.
So, hi everybody, welcome to Inter-Bliss. It's me, Hans.
And this is Quyn. And today we will talk about the caregiving dynamic in relationship, and how to enhance closeness and romance in a relationship that has a caregiving dynamic. Because, so we'll talk about the challenges, the potential challenges, and what might be some things that the caregivers can do, and then the caregiving person can do to avoid those challenges and to enhance closeness and make the relationship romantic. So, what do you see as some potential challenges, Hans? Yeah, your perspective, and then I'll share my perspective.
Well, there's a lot of challenges. I don't know what you mean, like physical challenges, emotional challenges.
Yeah.
And it also depends on the level of caregiving. Like, I've done caregiving anyway, so I'm not quite sure what you mean by the challenges.
Well, so say for example, so if the relationship is primarily about the caregiving dynamic, right? Mostly about caregiving, then the caregivers can be, can feel resentful, exhausted, burn out. They can feel alone, right? And that they see their partner as someone to give care, not someone to feel romantic with or to have desires for that person.
Right.
And then the potential challenges for the caregiving person is that the caregiving person can associate the caregiver with, so they feel themselves inadequate, they feel insecure or helpless. And so then when they feel insecure or helpless, they shut down, and then they not open their hearts to their partner or spouse, right? So that's the potential challenge. Also, the caregiving person can, because of their own frustrations, because of, say, physical limitations or mental health limitations, because of that, they may struggle with, say, irritability or anger or a sense of, it can come across as critical or entitled, right? Or if they lose a lot of control in their lives, then they can be a little bit, I know I can be that, a little bit OCD or uptight about things, because that's their way of instilling some control in themselves, right? So then that can come across as critical or mean. So then the caregiver can become resentful about that, or they don't say things so that, because they don't want to upset the other person, right? The caregiver would just take it all. Also, another thing I tend to see in other relationships, so the person who is being nice and caregiving, they would say, well, he or she has a lot of pain, they're going through a lot, so I should put up with things, right? So sometimes that over time can become a negative cycle. How about you, from your perspective? What do you see as some challenges in our relationship and in your other relationship?
Well, I mean,
or differences.
Well, I mean, they're totally different relationships, right? So,
yeah,
I don't know. So challenges, I guess it all depends on the person who's doing the caregiving and just how they are. Like me, I'm always doing anyway. So I mean, my biggest challenge is just not being appreciated for what I do, right? It's just that sense of entitlement that you get where I should just be doing it.
Right.
Right? Make me some tea. Like, why? Why
Right.
do I have to make the tea? Like, you can make tea. I know you can. But it's just, it gets to be a little bit too easy just to say, hey, do this, do that, do the other thing. And, and never offer up like, hey, can I make you a cup of tea? Or, so that's the biggest challenge for me. Right?
So feeling like obligated kind of thing, like
not obligated. I don't feel obligated to do these things for you. You feel like I'm obligated to do them, I think. But I don't think I'm obligated to do them.
Okay.
Right? So that's the challenge, right? Is like just making sure both people see it the same way. Like, I'm happy to make you a cup of tea, but I like that reciprocation every once in a while, and that appreciation. And sometimes.
So when it's strictly one way, then it can feel like you the only one doing it.
Well, and you end up doing everything, right? And then you just end up doing more and more, and the other person does less and less, and appreciates it less and expects more, and you get into that kind of cycle.
Right. Okay. Anything else?
Whereas before, like that other relationship where I was like a total full-time caregiver, it was different because my partner in that point didn't have the mental capacity to do for me or to think for me or to do anything really for herself. Right. So that was different, Right. But even then, she would try to do things, and so, that's the biggest difference, right? Is I think one partner tends to get, I don't know, overlooked or just sort of absorbed into, it's all about the other one.
Right.
So,
Okay.
That's a tough one to keep your own personality, right?
Any other challenges? Do you find it like exhausting or
no
burnout?
No, well, the only burnout is when it's just that constant string of minor things. Hey, where's my tea? Or can you get some salt water for me? Or how about you let the dog out? Like, wow, how about you just get up and do it yourself? Like, it's always that.
Okay.
So that's the only struggle for me is like that. I just sat down. I just need some. Like, let's just all focus and blow sugar up me for a while.
Yeah. So, but is that caregiving or is it, the type of relationship?
Yeah, that's it, right? I don't know.
Right. So, because
I don't look at it like I'm your caregiver, but you seem to like that phrase. You like.
Well, no, you brought it up a few times, so that's why we're doing this, because you brought it up about how caregiving dynamic is quite common in the relationship.
Sure, but I don't look at this as a caregiving relationship.
No, okay.
I look at this as a
other people
equal relationship,
right?
But
and
it's not like I'm your caregiver.
And that's the thing, because I think even if I'm not blind, when I'm in the relationship, I like to receive. I like to be with people who are giving and a little bit pampering, right? So even if I'm not blind, I think this dynamic would probably still exist that you do things for me.
Yeah, and I mean this dynamic still might exist where I resent that sometimes.
Yeah,
because there's just that high expectation, like I should be honored to do these things for you.
Yeah.
And sometimes.
Okay. Okay, so those are the challenges. So now you see how Hen's not happy with me. Okay, so what do you see as things that not make this a caregiving relationship that can
because you're totally capable to look after yourself in every way, and you've proven that. You've proven that, right? I mean, you lived on your own, you moved out, you moved to the city, you had no problem preparing your own meals, you had no problem entertaining friends, you had no problem having nice clean clothes to wear every day, so you're completely able to function for yourself, so you don't need a caregiver. Right? That's the difference. My relationship before, my partner was completely incapable of functioning in daily living on her own, and she needed a caregiver.
So just for people to know what you're talking about, so his last partner had a was it brain hemorrhage?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then she became more like, she had the mental capacity of someone more like 6-7-year-old kind of thing.
Well, I don't know that that's fair,
No?
but I mean,
physically,
she was physically unable to walk, or
right, it's not just mental.
Yeah, so she had a lot of physical deficits, completely paralyzed on the right side.
Yeah.
She's totally aphasic, so she rarely spoke, and then rarely had the right words when she did manage to speak. So there's a lot of that confusion there, right? And just had a lot of those deficits. I mean, she was pretty emotional sometimes. Sometimes she was semi-lucid. Sometimes had no idea who anyone was, who I was, what was going on. So
yeah, so kind of
totally,
like
totally different. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, living with dementia,
but also physical
and
too.
Physical, sure, yeah.
So
so I mean, to me, that's a caregiving role, right? Where like even my mom, I'm more of a caregiver for my mom than I am for you.
Really?
Yeah,
you
for sure.
Like that?
Yep.
Even though you do way more for me.
Yep. Well, you're my wife, right? And so we do a certain amount of things, right? But,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, some of the things that you can bring romance or closeness into such a relationship, because I think it's very important to do that, because otherwise the relationship is revolving around caregiving and receiving caregiving, right? So I think it's important to bring the intimacy, the romance into the relationship. So I would say for the person receiving, maybe receiving caregiving, or another way you can look at it, for the person who might have limitations, whether it be physical, like being blind or in a wheelchair, or whatever that might be, or mental disabilities. I think it's important for that person to be confident, to enjoy her life, or his life, because if you're not happy with yourself, when you have a disability or some kind of chronic condition, when you're not happy with yourself, you can really bring that into the relationship. And and then you can bring the unhappiness into the relationship. So I think it's important to be happy with yourself. So that means self-care, right? I believe that you should take care of your body. Make sure you look good, or as good as you can look, so that you can feel good about yourself. Because what you put into your, appearance or your self-care, it helps you to feel good about yourself. So that helps with the confidence. I also think that they should have some kind of purpose or direction in life. And, so I'm a therapist, but you don't have to be a therapist. You can be passionate about your music, or passionate about something, volunteering, or basically engage in life, right? Because then your life is multidimensional. It's not just, I have limitations, I have disabilities, I cannot do this. So rather than focusing on what you cannot do, focus on what you can do. Because you got to be happy with yourself first. Then you can allow yourself to be open to your partner or spouse. And I think having friends, um, having other connections, so that you're not just at home and you depend or rely primarily on your connection with your partner or spouse, right? And this is why when I live in Powell River, a smaller town, it's a lot tougher, because a lot of my friends and family in the lower mainland. So when I'm here in Powell River, I have less connections, but I do have a lot of connections, say my clients, or when I do YouTube videos or things like that. I do feel connected, but not as connected. And so, when I in the city, I feel like, I have friends. I can go out with friends or hang out with my nieces or my sister, and basically just fulfill your life, fill your life with things. I think that's really important. I remember, so let me give you an example of two blind men that I know. Okay, so one lost their sight. Well, actually, both of them lost their sight when they were in their 30s. One person his wife divorced him. And the way he thought of that is because she couldn't handle it. Well, you got to think, maybe she couldn't handle it, or was it that he became too something? He changed himself, not happy with himself, or maybe I don't know, right? Whereas the other blind man, even though he lost his sight, and it was really hard, devastated. I worked with him as a client, but I coach him around, so if you have limitations physically, maybe focus on how you can contribute to the relationship emotionally, how you can enhance sexual connection, right? Or talk to your wife. So when you have physical limitations, I would say then focus on enhancing emotional and sexual connection with your partner, because those are the ways that you connect. You don't have to just connect by doing things. And because, especially for a man, when they're not able to do as much in a relationship, they feel inadequate. They feel kind of like useless, not masculine, right? And so, but remember, it doesn't have to be just about doing things. It's about connecting emotionally and or sexually. So I would coach him to talk to his wife, or to do things that he's able to, maybe prepare dinner, maybe massage for her, whatever that might be, play with the kids. So that's for men. And for women, I would say help yourself to feel like a woman. Like I like to dress up. I like to do things that make me look good, make me feel sexy, because I think that's important, because sometimes when you're not happy with your body because of whatever physical limitation, it's easy to kind of neglect your body, to kind of dissociate. And so therefore, I think connect with your body, connect as a woman, connect with your femininity. So look good, do some simple makeup. It doesn't have to be complicated. I have ways to do makeup that are pretty simple, even though it may not look to people that way, right? But there are things that I can do to help me to have some simple makeup, or do good skincare, so that I'm happy with myself. Or skin is bright, right? When your skin is bright, then you look bright to people. You look like you happy. You look like you healthy. So that's what I think would be important for the person who has limitations. What would be your tips for the person doing the caregiving, so the caregiver?
Well, it all depends on the person, right? But I mean, you got to look after yourself for sure.
Yeah.
You got to realize, like, stress is a challenging thing, right? Because it builds up, and before you know it, you're under a tremendous amount of pressure, that you don't need to be under. So, don't try to do too much, and really encourage, whoever you're looking out for, to do as much as they can for themselves all the time, right? Because you never know if something happens to you, like that's a really hard spot for them to be in, so. But yeah, you always have to look out for yourself, and use respite if you get offered respite care. Like if you're a serious caregiver like that, where you've got somebody who could be in.
You need respite from me?
No, because again, I don't see this relationship as. And so, yeah.
Right.
So no, you're teasing me now. So.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
No. Okay. Well, what about yes?
No.
Okay. What are some ways to enhance closeness in the relationship? So I talked about as the caregiver, as the person receiving care, right? So what do you see as things that help the two people connect? To be more to be closer, to be more romantic.
Well, you have to be open to, I mean, as a person who's always like caregiving, it's harder for me sometimes to receive, that kind of care. So you have to remain open to that. And then, yeah, you just got to be in tune to your partner. You got to ask for what you need sometimes, And so, because sometimes as a person receiving care, you're not always in tune to what other people need. You know, and so, you know, I might get frustrated and think, oh, well, why doesn't this happen? Or why doesn't that, she just do that automatically? Because she doesn't think like I do, right? It's a different person. So I have to learn to really ask for what I need sometimes. And so,
And I would say for the caregiver to talk about the feelings, to talk about the days, to talk, because sometimes it can be a one-way relationship. And this would apply to caregiving outside of romantic love as well. You know, I would often encourage caregivers, you know, talk to the person, tell them that you have a frustrating day, or tell them your feelings, or things are not going well, or things are going well. Basically, let the other person give you emotional support, right? So that you can kind of balance that dynamic a bit more. Would you say? You know, like talk about things that are going on for you, right?
Yeah, as long as there's some consistent support, that's always good. Yeah. Yeah, for me, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, for when I was in that caregiving role, I was a bit of a mess then.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah. So that's different, I guess, because she wasn't able to connect with you, so it was harder to talk, right? But I'm talking about in terms of us, like, you know, you talk to me about your days at work, or, you know, your surgery, or the impact of it. You kind of like keep me posted on things, right? So there's a back and forth.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, like any relationship, right?
Exactly. That's what I mean, right? Do the things that helpful for relationships in general, and regardless whether it's caregiving or not in the relationship. And I would say do some fun things together.
Like every relationship has some caregiving in it, right? Like, I mean, you know, it has to, or what's the point? Right?
That's like, right. Yeah.
You know, to me anyway, like, I mean, if I'm in a relationship and I'm not giving anything, like, what's the point?
See, that's how you see, right? For me, in a relationship, if I'm not getting with someone receiving, that's what's the point. But you know, I said, like I said, have fun together, do things together.
It's like one of our friends posted on Facebook, you know, like, giving is good, and give as much as you can until you're not appreciated, you know, and then you got to have that conversation to remind people of your boundaries, right? So, so yeah, you got to give, but you got to make sure that that you're getting back what you need.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't need Quyn to cook my dinner and wash my clothes, but I do need her to approve of what I'm doing, give me that positive feedback.
Positive feedback. Happy what you're doing, right? Because I noticed,
and a little bit of patience once in a while.
Patience,
like to remember that I do have my own life, and just because you need or want a cup of tea, that doesn't mean I have to stop watching my movie or stop reading my article or in any way stop my life, right? So you can, you know, so that's important, because sometimes we lose track of that too. You know, like, I'm asking a favor. It's not a right that I have.
That's right.
You know,
and like when you receive support, whether caregiving or not, right? Like, show appreciation, be happy that the other person does something for you, and not take it for granted, because I'm guilty of that.
Or just be happy they're there. Just like, I mean, I'm often happy that Quyn's just there, right? I don't need her to do anything for me, but, you know, I'm glad she's there if I want to talk or if I want to do something.
Yeah. And so beside from having fun together, I also think doing things together, right? So for us, might be going to the gym, going on a cruise to go dancing together, like a sunset cruise, and they have dancing on there, you know, or tomorrow we're going to play. Well, kind of like a reading play.
Yeah, we're going to a sit-down reading of a play tomorrow. This is going to be interesting. We go to church, which is good.
Yes.
Right? That's always good for us to go.
Sometimes he convinces me to go for walks. Not my favorite thing to do.
I had to negotiate the walk today. That's right. I had to promise to do a video first. Right? I had to promise to be good and do a video, and then then my wife agrees to be seen in public with me for a short time.
I was seen in public with you. It's funny. So, but talking about being seen in public. So there's something else that I noticed. So unfortunately, somebody I knew, who had a disability, and her partner didn't want to be seen with her at a Christmas staff Christmas party every year, and that can be very hurtful. I don't know why. She's a really nice person, and she looks good, right? So sometimes there's a little bit of that shame. Can you imagine that? With his hands, like he always wants me to go to his staff parties, his things, and sometimes I can be an introvert. I love people. I love connections. Other times I just don't feel like going out. And it upsets him more that I don't go out than when I go out with him. Even though sometimes I feel like when I go with him, it's more work for him. Like say, but he's still, why is that? Why do you like to be out with me in public?
I don't know. I just like to. That's what we do, right? And I mean, to go grocery shopping. I don't have to. It's not like I twist your arm to come grocery shopping, but for going to the gym, if I'm going to the gym every night, like come to the gym. Why do you make me hang out alone? Like come and do that one with me. Or if we're going, I don't know.
Church or events or concerts.
Come to church. I don't want to go to church alone. I don't want to go to that event alone.
Yeah.
So I went to the movies by myself last time I was in town. That was not great.
Yeah.
Right? But it's okay.
Yeah, because
it was a good movie.
Mm-hmm. But so I mean, even though sometimes I'm a little bit annoyed that I have to come along, but I have to say I do appreciate that about Hans. Like he makes me, no one makes you feel anything, but I do feel good the fact that he wants me to be with him, to go to places with him, even though there might be a little bit more, a lot more work or more consideration on his part to think for me, to watch out for me. What is that like to do? Like watch out for your wife, because whether we go swimming or go to the gym or even going dancing, he would like watch out for me, because so that I don't get hurt by people, get people bump into me and things like that. So what's it like to watch out for me a lot of the time?
That's what I do,
Yeah.
So I just got to pay attention all the time. But I do pay attention all the time. So
yeah,
which often gets me in trouble, because my wife will say, well, how do you notice that girl over there? How do you notice what she's wearing? Well, I'm paying attention to everything all the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's that guy with the big muscles who might bump into you, and sometimes it's that girl with the little muscles who might not bump into you, but I have to notice that anyway. So I have to see everything just to figure it out.
Yeah.
Constantly scanning the environment. Make sure it's safe.
You think that's related to ADHD?
Maybe.
So Hans says ADHD. We'll talk about that another day, ADHD and how that is in a relationship. But so you do watch out for me a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't watch out for you.
Not too much.
Anyways. Okay, anything else you want to add?
No.
No, so he has enough talking, you guys.
See, this was a tough one for me. So
why is that?
Because you're always talking about me. Like I feel like you're interviewing me every week about different things.
Oh.
Caregiving is kind of a private, intimate thing. And so,
you can ask
what am I
me
going to ask you? I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
You don't even caregive your dog anymore. Like, you give that up to me. Right?
Because she's your dog now. I'm going to have a new dog soon. So
then you're going to have to be the caregiver for the dog.
That's right. Yes.
Exclusive.
Yeah, so when I have a new guide dog, I'm going to be her exclusive caregiver.
Because I apparently ruin all the dogs.
No, you don't. Anyway, so thanks for listening.
What, now you've had enough? Now you're just going to end it? Like, that's it?
Because I thought you have enough. Anything else you want to add?
What are we going to do now?
Huh?
What are we doing now?
Oh.
Holy smokes.
That's the 1 o'clock?
Apparently,
Yesterday it seems louder.
Apparently that's the 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Time. So where are we going now? What are we doing next?
We can go for a walk. You want?
Really? Where?
I don't know. Either the trail or the seawall. I love the seawall, but you seem to like the woods more.
The woods are super nice, but
the one last time.
Just go on the seawall. It's easier.
But the one last time.
Yeah.
You want to go to mermaid one? I like the mermaid one.
Do you?
I don't know. When I went, it was with Essie, so it seemed kind of relatively easy. But maybe because I was with Essie. I don't know. When I'm being guided by a dog, even though it's more work, but yet I'm more relaxed for some reason. I'm talking more like when we go trails, right? When things are.
That trail's a little skinny, that one, though. I remember.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Okay.
Right? That would be tougher.
Yeah. Well, we can flip coins and see.
You don't flip coins. You flip a coin.
Okay. Flip a coin. We can flip a coin and see well the what. Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in.
Where are we going now? That's it. You're done.
No.
Okay, thanks for coming, everybody. I was a little grumpy today, but that's okay. We made it.
Yes, I don't know why it was grumpy.
Yeah, because I don't like talking about me all the time.
Next time we'll talk about me. Okay?
Wow. I do love my wife, though. She's good. She's a good, loving wife.
Oh.
Don't get any bad ideas. Right? Good wife.
Okay, bye.
That's it, I guess. Okay, bye.